My name is Brendan Shaw. I'm calling from TimSpark,
Yes, yes. Hi, I was expecting the
formerly
call.
rural
Yes,
sourcing.
yes, yes, yes. I was
Okay, sure.
yes.
Sometimes there's a little miscommunication.
Yeah, yeah.
So my understanding is I'm giving you a text grading.
Yes,
Is
correct.
that grading as well? Okay.
Yes.
To give you a little background,
Mm-hmm.
I've been with rural sourcing, just changed our name to Spark, a little over a year. I'm a senior developer, currently engaged with a large client, and so that's Java full stack, but our clients don't really run full time. So
Uh-huh.
right now I'm mostly doing backend development.
Okay.
So do you want to give me a little bit of tell me about your latest projects without divulging
Yes.
any proprietary info?
Yes, yes, definitely. So basically, coming to my roles and responsibilities, I was working, having more than 9 years of experience on the Java full stack. Recently working with my previous project as a senior full stack Java developer on the Global Atlantic Financial Group in Indianapolis, responsible for working on various Java applications, handling end-to-end implementations and creation of the end-to-end microservices. So I was also responsible for working with the Agile Scrum methodology. So we had a Java microservices application which was created, and then maintaining the complex SQL queries inside the application. I was also responsible for getting the versioning and RESTful services UI implemented inside that. Also got some experience in rollout of the application authentication mechanisms by adding backend technology to that. I was also working with Java backend functions, creating some React native applications inside that. We were having some Lambda functions running on Amazon, which were triggered by custom events. I was also implementing Bootstrap and AngularJS into our apps so that we can make them more robust, handling all the real-time releases, coordinating with DevOps team members. I was also working on the URL mapping to make sure that the URLs are dynamic as well as static both. I have got good experience in microservices using Node.js and MongoDB, setting up the entire application across Maven scripts, setting up Maven build jobs, and creating the RESTful clients to interact with backend systems. I also got some experience with Angular and regular expressions and handling the Angular React.js API, triggering events and deploying those across major API microservices which were released. I also got good experience on third-party apps, and we were releasing these across multiple environments at the same time. I was also responsible for handling the application customization and WebSphere application server, configuring the GMS in the WebSphere application and sending messages to the queue. I was also responsible for some of the XML and dynamically refreshing those pages to the real time. So yeah, that's my high level of what I was doing.
Okay. I'm having a little trouble. You're getting in and out a little bit, but I think I got most of what you
Uh-huh.
were going.
Okay. I don't know. I have a
Um,
good connection. Maybe, okay, I'll try to speak closer to the mic and maybe to, it will help you listen clearly. Mm-hmm.
I might have a quick blip of
I'm having a
connection
blip
here.
here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you clearly.
Uh-huh.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Okay.
I can hear you.
I just disconnected from the VPN, and I think it's our connection a bit.
Okay. Are you calling from a VPN?
Yeah, we're set up with a virtual phone number So that,
Oh,
because
okay.
like we're all remote here.
Yeah, I have
I'm in
AT&T
Buffalo,
and
New York.
this is pretty fast connection I am on, and I'm on Wi-Fi calling, and I don't suspect an issue from my side because I never get any issues. Here in Salt Lake City, we have Google Fiber, and I'm on
Mhm.
AT&T, which is connected through Google Fiber on Wi-Fi calling. So I'm pretty sure it's all good here. I have full bars, and the call is routed through Wi-Fi. So
So yeah, I think the connection's improved.
okay, okay.
So can you describe the team environments that you've worked in and the methodologies used, like Agile or
Yes,
Waterfall
we were using
or
primarily
others?
Agile methodology. So we had a 2 week sprint, and we also had sprint planning and sprint review meetings. I was part of both, and from my team, I was representing the development lead positions. So we had a couple of people who were joining from other teams, especially from the DevOps teams as well as from the testing teams, because those were the two main areas who needed to coordinate with us in terms of application deployment to production. So we had each of these applications which were deployed on the cloud in multi-environment zones. So we were responsible for taking these zones independently and then making sure that these are validated on the runtime as part of the data. So I was responsible for setting up backlog reports and handling these reports with various stakeholder environments. Also defining the end user experience for those so that we don't miss out on any testing issues or backlogs which were given by the teams to us. Apart from that, I was also responsible for handling API testing with the testing teams. So they would send us screenshots of the issues they had faced and they had encountered. And then we would go ahead and take those issues to our teams and fix them. So we had a daily morning meeting at 10 a.m. So we had sprint planning, sprint review, retrospective, and backlog meetings. We also had change approval meetings wherein we were coordinating with various stakeholders to make sure that this is managed in the proper way. Uh, I was also responsible for setting up application-based custom stacks and creating them as part of the data points. So we would go and integrate them and release them on the final data point. And then I was also responsible for triggering the end user release management of our app. So we had multiple microservices. So I was responsible for setting up test plans and creating the classes and creating various branches. So I was the main lead on the reviewing of the code. So once the people would give us the code environments, we would go ahead and keep track of the code and then give them to various services in the application side. So yeah, I mean, this was our day-to-day activities.
Sounds really good. I'm kind of off the top of my head think of what those Agile backlog planning, stand up. What are they called? Each of the things that you do when you're doing Agile.
Yes, basically coming to each of the things which we are doing in the Agile environment. I was responsible for working on the Agile sprint methodology and validating them. So working with the Agile framework, creating the user stories, assigning them to various stakeholders, understanding their impact
Mm-hmm.
in our environments, and building the components, assigning them to the next level team so that they can come back to us with defects, and then fixing those code issues across multi-stakeholder environments and releasing them on the runtime API. I would like to say in this case. So this is what we had as part of the data service environments and deployment API, which was done.
So can you tell me a little bit about your team structure? How many people were on your team, and what was your primary role?
Yes, basically coming to my team structure, we had almost 8 people in the development team. Coming to our team structure, we had a couple of people who were working with us, like some were remote, some were in person, and I was responsible for working with them in terms of getting the services created. So we had a development team 8 people, testing team was almost 9 people, some were based out from India, and the DevOps team was 6 people. Development team was mostly in the US, spread across multiple locations, and we would coordinate in a different meeting after the Scrum to discuss any kind of issues which we might have faced in those environments, I would like to say. So this is one of the things which we were doing as part of the runtime API. So yeah.
Would you classify yourself as sort of a team lead?
Not team lead, but a technical mentor and a senior consultant in the team who would be the person for any kind of a review, or because we had a different team lead, he was managing us. But my job was different than a team lead. It was more of like a technical lead, you can say.
Mm-hmm. All right. How did you go about defining? Well, you kind of went over that already. I'm going to skip that. What versions of Java have you used?
7, 8, 11. These are the ones which I've used.
No 17 yet?
Not yet, but there is a plan from the architecture team saying that we should be going ahead and doing it.
Mm-hmm. All good. What can you give me an example of a specific upgrade that was introduced in one of the versions?
So basically coming to the specific version which was upgraded, it was 7 to 8, and we had to upgrade a lot of classes and other things in the application. So in terms of getting the services implemented, we had to change the database service environment. So we had to also change the queries and some of the class dependencies, some syntax environments inside those, which were released and automated. So yeah, this was one of
Okay,
them
so
which was validated on the real-time API, and then we had to roll back changes.
you kind of went with a DBMS at that point?
Yes, we had a RDBMS, primarily the Oracle. So it was basically created by the Oracle runtime environment, and we had to specify the container API services inside that. So we also had the services which were triggered and integrated on the runtime, and we had to make sure that each of these are totally validated inside the third-party automation. So we had to also deployed on the top of that. So it was kind of done on the web API services which were released.
So I've got a bunch of technical questions to go through here now. I'm sure you've already gleaned. Can you describe the different access modifiers in Java?
Yes, so basically coming to the different access modifiers in Java, we have the public, private, and static. So basically it starts with the public, which is accessible by anyone. So in the Java, when we go with the private, it means only accessible from that certain block. So in the Java access modifiers, you got the product protected as well, which is only from within the same function scope. So the default access level is the default modifier, is only within this package, cannot be accessed from outside. If you do not specify any access level, it will be the default one on the runtime and validated as per the data. So in the public access level, the modifier will be accessed from the class. Sorry for the cough I have. And for the static, abstract, and asynchronous classes, we have the transient access modifiers which are there.
Okay. what are frameworks, and which frameworks are you familiar with?
So basically, yes, I would say that we have multiple frameworks in Java. I have used the entity framework. I would like to say we have the Vaadin framework, the Grails, Spring Security Struts, Spark framework. All these have been used by me in my environments.
So you have experience with Spring framework, right? I heard.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have Spring profiles experience?
Yes, I was responsible for using various profiles in Spring. So these were primarily used by defining the Spring Access framework inside the application side. So this was done to make sure that we have all the services which are released on the Spring profile and deployed on the top of that. So this was really a big thing for us because we had to integrate them with the customization API and rolled out. So this was kind of handled by the third-party application system and integrated. So yeah, it was really good, and we got all these Spring profile framework, which was totally integrated with our database. So in this case, we were having a core feature of the framework, which is using the component and configuration, which is marked with the profile to limit when it is loaded, and the production public class will be added inside that.
Have you used Spring Initializer?
Yes, yes, we were using the Spring Initializer. So this is primarily used in our environments. So in the Spring Initializer, we were able to get the data. We can easily generate the structure of the Spring Boot framework and offers extensible API for creating JVM based projects, which also has various options for expressing the metadata model.
And can you speak to any, which Spring database libraries have you used?
Yeah, so basically we were using a couple of them for MySQL as well as the Oracle Berkeley DB. We were also using the Spring DB libraries for getting all the application data inside that. So we were using JDBC, Hibernate, which were used in our environments.
All right. What testing tools and frameworks have you used?
I've used the Memcache and the Redis. Both of these were used by me.
Have you used any like automated testing tools?
Yes, yes, we were using automated testing tools in our environments. So we got each of these services with the application side and validated on the top of that. So we were able to use JMeter, SonarQube, and others which are triggered.
Any Mockito, Cucumber?
Yes, Mockito for mocking and making sure that the mocks are validated easily.
Okay, sorry, I think you might have said that and I might have misheard you.
Yes.
Have you used any web testing tools like Postman?
SonarQube and Postman, SonarQube API specifically, and Postman release services.
How do you define a unit of work in regards to unit testing?
Yes, so basically.
And how do you isolate that from other layers of the application?
So basically, coming to the other layers of the application, we have isolated that using SonarQube. We have got various kinds of Sonar APIs which are called back on the runtime. So we get Sonar multiple, and we are using SonarQube and Grid so that we can call them in these separate environments at the same time. So yeah, that was one thing which we did.
I think I heard you say you have experience with AWS and Lambdas there.
Yes, using Lambdas to run some automated test cases. Definitely, yes.
We've been over database. What do you prefer, Hibernate or creating the ORM or creating your own SQL queries?
Yeah, basically I prefer Hibernate because I like the framework and how it has been developed and how it has come across over the ages. So yeah, I think I prefer that.
Cool. How would you define the difference between errors and exceptions?
So basically error is nothing which is like coming when some code is running. The main difference is error indicates trouble that primarily occurs due to the scarcity of system resources, whereas exception is something which can appear at runtime or compile time during the error which occurs inside the code.
Can you describe some techniques for handling?
Yes, so for exception handling, we have got specific techniques. So, you know, we can catch the exception. We have got throwable and run exception at runtime with the null pointer. We also have got checked exceptions, and we have some of the unchecked exceptions as well, which are created inside the run level. So yeah, that's one thing.
Okay. And can you describe the difference between continuous integration and continuous delivery?
Main difference between CI/CD is CI is all the way to the production, is all the way to the pre-production, and there is a manual step to production, whereas continuous delivery or deployment is pretty much the same, and it means that all the way to production it will be automatically deployed as part of the data services, I would like to say.
Right. And when you're doing a code review, what are you looking for?
Primarily, I'm looking for comments, indentation, as well as a couple of other things like the best practices should be followed. I think that's all I look at.
All right. I would say that is the end of my questions here. Do you have any questions for me?
We just want to know like what is the team size, day-to-day activities, expectations, and the team culture.
It's really hard to define because we're a consulting firm, so it really depends on what client you end up on. I've worked for 2 different clients. Both were using a real modern stack, all the Atlassian tools. They all use them a little bit differently. My first client, I was embedded on a Spark team. So it was 3 developers from our company working together to solve problems. And it was a really tough client, but it was really rewarding because everybody who works here is incredible and really helpful, and everybody's invested in your success because if you look good, we all look good. The current client, I'm sort of a single developer embedded on a client team. And they are very welcoming, which is not necessarily the case across all of the clients. Sometimes, as a consultant, you're kind of viewed as the enemy by developers there. But they are, the client I'm on now is very welcoming. We always encourage you to go if you need help, to go internally first before going to somebody on the client team. But it varies a lot from client to client what your experience would be like.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, ideally, we do. Ideally, we do try to sell teams of developers rather than singular developers to the client because you do have better control over
Yes.
the experience.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any other questions?
I'm good as of now.
What was that? Sorry.
I said no, I'm good as of now. So
Okay. I'll tell you a little extra about Spark since we have a few minutes before our time's up, if you don't mind.
I don't mind.
If you need to get going, let me know.
No worries.
It's a really cool, welcoming company culture. We have resource groups for a lot of different groups of folks. There's like a Black Voices CRG and a Rainbow CRG, where they kind of meet every couple weeks and put together activities to do for the company. The Black Voices does a happy hour. That's always a lot of fun to attend. We also do a all internal convention every summer that's all remote. We started last year, but it's like a gaming and tech convention with all sorts of different topics. The CEO actually played a D&D session, a Dungeons and Dragons session for the first time at last year's, and it's a lot of fun, and you get to learn a lot about your coworkers and stuff because it's tough being remote full-time. You don't really have an office that you're going into. And so they work really hard to keep a good company culture going here.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah. All right.
All right. Thank you for your time, Kieran.
Thanks a lot. Bye. Thanks.
Bye.